Welcome to episode 120 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. When I look at the current state of the world, it occurs to me that everyone who is here right now came for the shift. They came for the rebirth. There is a part of each person that remembers, deep inside, that they are here for a really special time. That inner knowing has filled each person with the capacity for great big feelings and often outsized reactions. It's like everyone knows that they are here to be a part of something big, a huge shift. But some are on the side of that shift being towards equality, decency, integrity, and justice, while others are fighting like hell to eliminate those principles. They are fighting with all their might to maintain white supremacy, the cruel and unjust treatment of people who are not exactly like them, corruption, and the avoidance of accountability. It's really disheartening to watch. Imagine if we could all get on the same page. We could solve so many problems in a matter of days. But that is not how Earth School works. In all things there must be opposition. That is a spiritual law. So we will always have those who see the world darkly through the eyes that one has when they are at the lower levels of spiritual awareness. We will always have to share this school with those whose thoughts and behaviors are deplorable. Everyone seems to want to be a part of something that ignites their passion, something that removes them from their everyday life. And that shows up in some pretty confounding ways. But here's the thing. Everyone has the opportunity to get passionate about one or more topics, but the requirement for joining different causes varies greatly. If you want to get involved with QAnon, the alt-right, or the growing movement towards authoritarianism, you are only required to hate certain people. That is a very low bar of entry, but that may be all that those who are at the lower levels of spiritual awareness are capable of at this point. They get extra points if they can demonstrate a slavish devotion to the person who is spreading the evil. For them, joining these causes scratches that itch to feel passion. It makes them feel like they are doing something important. It may also make them someone important if they can only muster up the bravery to step over the line that is in place in polite society. They have gone as far as to elevate to hero status a teenage murderer. Anyone who is brave enough to be even more awful than the rest of their group is sure to achieve a higher level of status in that group and can get in on the financial grift that accompanies their movement. The more awful you can be, the more fame and money you are sure to make. The only thing that can get you kicked out of these groups is to do something that is decidedly not low-level behavior, like telling the truth. That never goes over well since it conflicts with everything the group is promoting. For those at higher levels of spiritual awareness, the causes look quite different. They tend to be less about hating certain people and more about trying to attain difficult ideals in a school where many cannot yet embrace those ideals. These groups run the gamut, touching on all the issues that we are here to make better. A person can gain fame and financial success through leading people who are at a higher level, but it's a trickier gig because those who think at higher levels are less likely to demonstrate slavish devotion, and they are more likely to kick you out of the group should you lie, cheat, or steal. These people are held to a higher standard. Of course, there can be low-level people masquerading as high-level people. That's not that hard to do. Any narcissist worth their salt knows all of the soft spots of those at higher levels. They can observe what matters to them and craft their message to fit. They are sometimes found out, sometimes not. Sometimes they blow themselves up when they are no longer able to mimic honesty, integrity, empathy, or humility. Sometimes they are outed by others. Sometimes we don't know how their lives didn't match their words until generations later. This shift that we are here to be a part of, the rebirth, is not limited to what we do as groups. It's about the progression of our own thinking and understanding as individuals. Each and every person is given the opportunity to either go down one road or the other. Each person has the opportunity in every moment to either turn down the road that is dark and filled with rage, hatred, and fear. All of these are emotions that have very powerful pulls. Or they can turn down the road that requires more of them. The road that asks them to step into the light and consider that they can increase their understanding of and participation in equality, decency, integrity, and justice. We are all here to learn and grow. It is our job to listen to others and both seek the truth and demonstrate our highest principles. That is the hardest thing to do when we see too much and know too much of what is going on out there. The world is in rough shape right now. It is both impossible and irresponsible to not recognize that. But here we are, one foot in front of the other, drawing ourselves toward the light and away from the pull of the darkness. Good for you. Let's get into New Year's resolution number 4. Spend more of your time and attention on those with the answers. This may seem too basic to even mention, but in this day and age, it may be one of the most difficult things to do. We live in the time of reality television. Over the years, it has slowly stripped away our attention span and our appetite for deep conversations that are full of nuance. We are increasingly encouraged to see the world in a very binary way, but that kind of thinking is too elementary. The real world we live in is going to require choices and actions that are full of nuance. The information we receive through social media and the traditional media has found that the dark side, the place where everyone is behaving badly, is more profitable than the light side, where people are doing the actual work of figuring out solutions. The more outrageous and awful people are, the more press they get. The more press they get, the more money they make. Some mornings I scroll through Twitter with my first cup of coffee, and I'm overwhelmed by people doing awful things, and then everyone else feeling the need to bring that to my attention. The evildoers get double coverage. They promote their evil, and then their evil is retweeted by those who are upset by what they are doing. It makes it difficult for me to wrap my head around what percentage of people are doing evil. I'm not sure what percentages we're looking at here. I don't follow anyone who I know to be evil, but between the news and the retweets, it can seem like there is nothing but evil out there. There are a handful of people who are saying and doing deplorable things, but I'm not sure how much influence they actually have because everyone is talking about them. I suspect it makes them seem bigger and more powerful than they actually are, but I can't be sure. I don't have a good bead on that. Everything I read, see, and hear makes them seem like they have an inordinate amount of power, but maybe they only have attention. Maybe they are nothing more than thorns in our collective sides, ridiculous clowns who will quickly fade from view. But I have to pay attention because there are a lot of ridiculous clowns who are currently enacting laws that are unthinkable. So maybe the attention they seek does end up being converted into power. I think it would be great if we could drown out the attention they receive with news of people doing the right thing and people who have legitimately studied real problems and have some insight into how we could best change directions. It is easy to lose sight of all the brilliance that exists in this world of ours. We have so many highly intelligent people who have applied their brilliance to understanding how all the different aspects of this world work. We have so many people who have made it their life's work to improve our situation here in this school. We have so many people who demonstrate on a daily basis their ability to care for and heal those in need. We have so many people who are working at the highest levels of spiritual awareness who have the ability to help us find the right path. There are more people who are working diligently to up their own game and trying to infuse that into everything around them than there are those who have given up and reverted to the lowest levels. But that is not what you're hearing right now. You hear more about the worst of the worst. You hear about those who have no business being anywhere near power. Before everything took a very dark turn, I was able to watch some reality TV. Once we ended up with a reality TV president, I was no longer able to enjoy the spectacle of people behaving badly. It was no longer funny or entertaining. Suddenly, it became clear how very dangerous it could all be. Reality TV was no longer any sort of respite because it was just more of the same that I was seeing all day long. Now I have to adhere to the principle that I don't let anyone into my house through TV or social media that I wouldn't actually invite in through my front door. I don't want to give them the clout that they get with attention, and I don't want them to have the ability to warp my mind or, through barraging me with their deplorable behavior, make me immune to acts of evil. So this year, I'm going to tune out the attention seekers and tune in to those who can share visions of positive change. But honestly, this feels like it's going to be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Let's see if we can turn attention into power for those who should actually have some power. New Year's resolution number 5 is to build joy and laughter into every single day. In this time when we are bombarded with images and ideas that are distressing, it is important that we disengage long enough to truly have fun. It used to be much simpler. We could always get together with our favorite people and have a good laugh and make fun memories. Now that we're still in the throes of this global pandemic, we don't always have that option. As humans, we will always need connection. That will never change. But we have to be more creative now about how we make and maintain those connections. And we need to be able to drum up some joy and laughter even when we can't be with other people. Knowing yourself involves understanding the emotions that different types of content bring up in you. Knowing yourself involves understanding the emotions that different people bring up in you. To live the full experience here on earth, you need to be able to feel all of the feelings. But as we continue to run this endless marathon of chaos, we need to have a very clear idea of what we need to feel and how we need to get there in any given moment. We need to fine-tune our ability to manage our own emotions. You are not meant to struggle every moment. You are not meant to be buried under an avalanche of problems and concerns. You are also here to feel joy. You are also here to laugh and have fun. You are here for it all. Making time for joy and laughter does not mean that you aren't engaging in the world in a meaningful way. It means that you get the full spectrum of the earth experience and are not choosing to engage in struggle at the expense of your own soul. If you only engage in the struggle, it is easy to forget why you even want to be here. It becomes all too much. You can't let it get to that point. So what makes you feel joy? What makes you laugh? What lightens your heart and allows you to reinvest your optimism in life and other people? If you are already feeling stressed, watch, read, or listen to something that alleviates that stress, not something that enhances it. If you are losing hope in humanity, watch, read, or listen to something kind that will remind you of all the good out there. There is great beauty in the fact that our brains are all wired differently, so the content that brings joy and laughter is different for each of us. Know your uplifting content. Then make time each and every day for something that brings you joy. Laugh as much as possible. If you are feeling lost, talk to someone whose point of view helps you find your way back. And just as I would suggest you turn off the content that brings you down, avoid for now the people who have that same effect on you. Your joy matters. It is essential to your well-being. Go ahead, make it a priority. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. Next week we'll continue with our 2022 resolutions. It's been a complicated year, but I feel like we can and will make the most of it. We are here for all the chaos, even though sometimes we forget that. We are also here for the joy and laughter. You can always let me know how you're doing by emailing me at rebirthrev@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, and full episodes can be found on YouTube and on our Facebook page. Please subscribe, download, and share whenever possible. Until next week, consider how your social media feeds make you feel. Check in with yourself about how you are feeling multiple times a day. Get vaccinated, wear an N95 mask, and order your free test kits. And have a good laugh. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and keep marching towards the light.